Hey guys, making a quick video for AlltheMons 10, just to record a problem or a fix for an issue that I've been having, and I feel like it could be super helpful to some other newer players or maybe mid-game players for AlltheMons 10, um, for cooking your XP candies into the larger ones, but automating it. The traditional way is, you put in your, extra smalls and whatnot. It cooks into into a small, into a medium, into large, up into an XP or an extra large. Um, Automating it, all the videos show to use applied energetics too, um, which can be complicated. There's some others without it, but it's still kind of complicated, or at least you have to tinker with it per situation. Everybody's situation is a little different. Um, but I've come up with this super easy setup that is super easy for anybody early game to set up. This works best with if you have a pasture block with some pickup crews that are picking up a bunch of candies. So say you have a whole, inventory or chest or something or drawers full of extra smalls, and mediums. This setup is great for you because all you have to do is dump them into an inventory and it does the rest of them. You don't have to go to each pot or put them into, 15 different inventories or whatever. You put them into one inventory and it'll cook them all and dump out a bunch of extra large. So this is easy, super easy. It's super cheap. You don't even need diamonds. The most that you need is gold and redstone. So you can do this pretty early game. Uh, the two mods that you're using, of course, Cobblemon because of the XP candies. Um, the bigger one that you're gonna need is Super Factory Manager. Um, your four items from here. You're gonna need the Factory Manager, the Inventory Cable, the Label Gun, and the Factory Manager Program Disk. You're only gonna need one manager. Minimum, I would say four cables. You can probably do less if you really condense this down. If you put these on the side, you don't have to put them on the top. You could probably get away with two cables, I think. You could put the two pots up here, two pots on the side, put this on that side, and then on that side, you could probably get away with two cables, but um, I'm using four to help demonstrate this more. Um, the other that you're going to need, other mod, I guess, would be this works best with sophisticated storage, whether it's a chest, a barrel, or whatever. And I'll explain in a minute. If you're only dumping small candies in here, you could probably get away with just a vanilla chest or an inventory or whatever. So if you're a little more advanced, you can tailor this to your needs. I'm just using a sophisticated storage because this makes it easier. I can literally dump all three of the candies that the pickup crew finds. I can dump them into the chest willy-nilly or pipe them in, whatever, and it'll do the rest. So first you'll put down your cables. In this case, we're putting down the four cables. Um, Inventories have to be touching. It don't have to be on touching on each end. Just has to be touching the cable in some way. It can be a drawer, whatever. Um, and then of course you put your cooking pots on top. You don't have to set up any kind of opening, closing for these. Just leave them closed so they cook, and it does the rest. Um, so you'll put in your your disk. Right now it's got no program, no problem. I sat with this code for about 2 hours with a code help kind of thing to finally get this to work with this. So all you should have to do is copy and paste. I'm going to include this in the top comment. Um, and again, if you're a little more snazzy, you can probably tailor the program to work with combs and skulk blocks as well. But this is just for my needs. I didn't need that because the pickup team picks up more candy than I'll need. So, I'll probably change a little bit for Skulk and stuff in the future. But the biggest thing about this is it just does not use applied energetics 2. Um, I'm not super good with it, but I'm also kind of burnt out on it. Same with people who are doing mystical agriculture. It's in all the mods all the time, and they're just kind of burning it. They want to go without it. So I'm the same way. I didn't want to use it, applied energetics this time. So this is a super, super easy way. I don't have to mess with my channels and everything to get this to work. I just messed with the code for a while, and now I copy and paste it to you guys. You guys can use it as you want. So you put the disk in there. You'll have it copy and paste in the code. Copy it as is. No biggie. You can technically name these whatever you want, but this is just kind of what I'm using. And I'll explain what each part does. So once you put in the code, I can do a quick run through. It's named XP Candy. So don't really worry about that. You can name it however you want. Every 20 ticks, it'll pull candy from an inventory, put it in the slots for the pots. Next one, it'll pull to the second pot, do the cooking, and then pull those to the third pot, and pull those into the fourth pot. And by that time, it's a large candy, and then it just outputs to here. So once you have that, click done. It'll tell you if there's any errors. No worries. The error right now is that these labels are used, but they're not assigned in the world. That's where the label gun comes in. So once you have that in, you'll shift right click. It says pulled labels from the manager. So now if you click out, you'll see these labels. You have to assign them. So first we'll click candy is the one in the inventory where I'm going to be just dumping the candy in. So then I select that. You'll see the little box pull up. Next I'll assign the pots. Pot 1, pot 2, pot 3. I think you do have to right click in the open air. Otherwise it'll try and, do that. If you assign something wrong, just shift, right click it again. It'll unclick it. You can technically double assign pots or inventories or whatever, so try not to do that. So let me set those back. So click into open. Oh my gosh. Click into open air, unlike what I'm doing. Pot 4. And then you label the final inventory as well. And that's it. And then you just right click to the manager, not shift right click, but just right click. And you'll see it says push the labels to the manager. Perfect. So now you're technically done with the label gun. Now you'll see there's no errors. It says running. You don't have to do anything else with this block. So from there, all I have to do is dump all this in. Well, actually, there's one more step. As you probably noticed, you do have to set this up. Now, the reason I said to use the sophisticated storage inventories is because it has these options over here. You'll see the little ghost outline, that's the memory slot. So that code, if you remember, pulls from slot 0, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. So it'll pull from those particular slots. To see what those slots are, hit Control I. It'll pull up the Super Factory Manager or just this, the GUI slots. So whenever this is interacting with something, this is slot 0, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3. So that thing is pulling from slot 0. It's going to put into pot 1. It's going to put it into slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, slot 4, all the way to 6. And then the output is slot 0. So it does the cooking, it'll pull from slot 0 in the pot, but then it'll also pull any small candies from the candy inventory. Next slot it'll pull, or next action it'll pull from pot 2, the output slot, but then also pull any slot 2, which is the medium candies, into the next pot, and so on and so forth. So that's why these memory slots are good. If you just throw them in anywhere, it's a whole pain. I was trying to get the code to recognize the item by name, but these Cobblemon candies, it has the dot and the spaces, which Super Factory Manager does not really do very well. At least this mod version of it. There apparently was a mod version where you could specify an item with a label, and then, like, hey, this is item 1, pull this from the inventory. I guess it doesn't have that anymore. You could define the variables, but this one is literally just code. So I really had to mess with it. I found out that slots are, the, by far the easiest way to make this happen. So the code is super, super simple. You can, like I said, tailor this to also do Skulk and Honeycomb by just assigning it a slot in here. Say maybe this slot and this slot have Honeycomb and Honeycomb and Skulk, and then just input 1. So again, inputs from Candy. The retain 1 to each slot is useful to not let it get backed up, because if you don't have retain 1, it'll just pull in stacks over and over and over again. Technically, I probably don't need it because it's assigned to slots. But again, before it was like pulling, once you have 5, and then it'll try to put in a 6 stack, and the recipe stops. So retain 1 means that it's only going to put 6 in here. So I'll put in 6, it'll only put 6. But if I put in 11, it's only going to put in 6 until it's done, and then it's going to grab the next batch. So, and then it'll sit there and wait. And it'll take from that slot 0, it's going to go in there. Now I put it over here. It's going to grab that, puts it in this one, waits for more. And so that actually, retain 1 actually keeps it better. Instead of all like a stack pulls up right here, it's only going to put 1, and that does allow it to like round robin it, if that makes sense. Because yeah, otherwise you'd have a whole stack here, and then you got to wait for a whole stack for this next one, and then a whole stack from this one. This just allows each individual candy to go through one slot at a time. So yeah, pretty easy. I'm gonna put that code in the comment, so you can put this up just like this. Copy and paste in the code when you click edit, and then done. Place the label. You do have to place the labels to tell it where. So like, I'll do a demonstration now. I'm pretty much just going to throw everything in there. Stack upgrades are great. They're not super necessary if you've got a small amount, but if you have a stack upgrade, that makes sure that they all stay in that one slot and they're not overflowing into the next row. So it pulls that, pulls it to the next one, cooks it there, pulls the next one, cooks it there, pulls to the next one. It's gonna get, there it goes, pulls that third one, and then once that one's done, it pulls it into there, and that's done. The reason I like this so much is, I could have set it where it was just extra small candies, but in reality, the pickup team picks up extra small, smalls, and mediums. So instead of just dumping in 1, we're doing, just 1 stack, 2 stacks, 3 stacks, whatever at a time. I can dump them in this whole chest or pipe them in here. Realistically, I'm going to have a pipe coming down to just dump them in here, and it takes care of the rest. So hope that helped. This was a XP automated cooking farm without applied energetics or modular routers, only using the Super Factory Manager. I messed with the code so you don't have to. You should just be able to copy and paste it in. If the code does give you any issue, and like I'm not super good at code, I'm not a very software guy. Google's AI, I know that a lot of us are not you know really fond of AI, but Google's AI is super awesome at debugging code. It pretty much helped me. I started with a base code of input into pots, and it helped me figure out the rest of this. Still took about 2 hours because I really suck at code, but I did all the hard work. You don't have to worry about that. Just copy and paste it in here. If there is an error, it'll show something up here. So like, say example, I don't know, have an error there, whatever. It's gonna say, hey, invalid program, mismatched input, pot one is expecting. It's saying that this is expecting something else. It doesn't know what this word is, and so it stops. It can sometimes fix, like I can shift click it. That's not going to fix it. I actually have to take it out. Oops. So it is kind of iffy on like capitalization sometimes. So I usually just have the commands. The labels are the only things that are left, lowercase, and hit done, and it's back to running. So awesome. Again, I hope that helps. Super, super easy. I can take a look at the inventory or the crafting. So the Super Factory Manager, it's just redstone, chest, inventory cables is chest. It's all vanilla stuff. I mean, I'm really, really impressed with how cheap these recipes are. It's all just vanilla items. The label gun is just dies and stick and a sign. The program disc is just dies and redstone and a repeater. That's it. It's all vanilla items to craft it. So you can do this super early game. The most you really need is the gold, 4 pieces of gold for this, and it gives you a stack of 16. So you could technically expand this. Put 15 block or campfires in there. You probably have to adjust the code, or just duplicate this whole thing and use the same program. So you can have it pipe into 2 inventories and 4 separate you know inventories, but super cheap, super easy. You should just be able to copy paste it in. It's working through these candies like a boss, and I don't have to do anything. I can literally just dump them in here and walk away, come back in 5 minutes or whatever, do whatever I need around the base, and I have a bunch of candies. So awesome. I really just made this because I didn't see any videos out there without using complex systems. This is super scalable if you want. I mean, it's literally 4 cables and a manager block. Just make more right next to each other. And again, like I said, you can technically, if somebody is good with the code and wants to adjust this to add skulk and honey to it, into a first step, then you really don't have to do anything. You can put this all behind a wall, never have to worry about it. Set up a simple bee farm with honeycombs and a botany pot with skulk, and then you're good. But yeah, again, hope this helps. I'm gonna post this to Discord as well because I know there's some newer players like myself in there that this maybe will help. But thanks.